Welcome to dinner at the Round Table Podcast with DJ John Tovar, Nelly Nell, Chris Ryder, your source to knowledge. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Dinner at the Round Table.
GG, I am DJ John Tovar, Nelly Nell, Chris Ryder. We all Dinner at the Round Table Podcast, your source to knowledge. We got a special guest tonight. Nelly Nell, please.
You already know what it is, man. We got Jonatan Perez, the elevator maintenance expert in the house, man. We're about to talk about what goes up, what goes down, maybe left and right. We don't know, but he's the expert. He's going to let us know how the elevator industry works, man. Safety, first order of priority. What's up, Jonatan? Say hi to our public.
What's going on, world? What's going on? Pleasure to be here with you guys. Been hearing a lot about dinner around the table. So thank you for the opportunity to bring me here. Basically, my name is Jonatan Perez. I've been doing this for a minute, I've been doing it since I was 18 years old, year 2000. I started in the year July 5th, 2000. Started doing this business. Started from the bottom, now we're here, you know what I'm saying? So basically, it's been a long time. And,
21-year experience in the elevator industry, basically.
Wow. Yes, sir. Great, yes, sir. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. It's definitely a great industry. It's nothing has allowed me to provide for my family. It has allowed me to grow in many aspects. So definitely blessed. Thankful to God for the opportunity and be able to do it safely. Still here, 10 fingers, everything here. So it's a blessing.
You haven't lost a limb yet.
Thank God.
Thank God. Praise the Lord.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, for sure, man. But listen, man, we're definitely an honor to have you on Dinner at the Round Table Podcast. We are the source to knowledge. Your field is very unappreciated. There's people that get on elevators like at least 20, 30 times a day, and they don't understand who makes the little engine run. You guys are the ones that make the engine run. You guys are the ones that make sure that engine is running correctly so that no casualties happen. And I appreciate you and I commend you for your service, brother, because a lot of people don't understand that you guys are very important to their transportation on a daily basis in their own apartment buildings, at work, going to the train station, going down escalators to going to the train. Like, it's a very important thing, man. And a lot of people don't understand the concept because sometimes out of sight is out of mind. You guys work behind the scenes, so a lot of people don't get to see you guys. But you definitely are appreciated. I appreciate you. I know the guys here appreciate you. Then at the round table appreciate you. But let's go into who Jonatan Perez is, man. Let's talk about you first, who you are as a person. I know you're a Yankee fan. I can see it. Chris Ryder's a Mets fan, so let him interrupt you because he's a hater. Go ahead.
It's all good. It's all New York, baby. All New York. So, I mean, like you said.
I've been chastised by Yankee fans all the way from Dallas, Texas, so no worries, though. I wanted to say one thing, though, Nelly. Now, the sideways elevators, they only exist in Looney Tunes. Go ahead, brother. Speak your piece, baby.
No doubt. So basically, like Nelly Nell already introduced, Jonatan Perez. What can I say about me, man? An immigrant, came here when I was in the year 99. I was 17 years old, came here hungry, with a dream, wanted to take over the world. So one way or the other, ended up, I have actually an uncle that was doing this business already before me. And, basically through him introduced me to my first elevator job. Like I already stated, July 5th of the year 2000. I started in this business. I'm Dominican, came to this country looking for a better life. And I have, thank God, found a family, a beautiful wife. Also found my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. So want to definitely say that. And, I started doing this very early in my age. I really haven't, even though I try other things along the way, I even tried to go to college. I thought maybe this was just something temporary, but one way or the other, found my way back into the same business. It was a good business, a good paying job. And, little by little started to actually love what I do and liking what I do. So it's been 21 years since that. I started non-union. I started working for private companies and did it for like 12 years. And then had the opportunity in the year, I would say 2013. Yeah, so basically 8 years ago, had the opportunity to join the union that I know belong right here, represent Local 3, IBW for the elevator division. And I've been doing union work in New York City for the last 8-9 years. And
Congrats on that, man.
Yeah, man. Wow, man. So you're definitely a product of what people call the American dream, bro. You came to this country with a goal in mind that you was gonna do something to better your lifestyle. You came in here, you got the ropes taught to you by your uncle. Then from there, you took interest into the industry, and you took matters into your own hand, man. And you turned this into a craft that you are definitely an expert in. I commend you, brother. Definitivamente, saying you're the man, bro. I definitely am proud of you, bro. You already know.
thank you, bro. Thank you.
Elevator maintenance.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
man,
Yes,
it's a
sir.
beautiful story, bro. Honestly.
Yes, no, I mean, a lot of ups and downs, no pun intended. So it's been a struggle. There was 12 years, I mean, it started like I said, started from the bottom, you really don't know anything. It's a tough industry. There's tough love, it's you did working with these guys. Some of them forget what they came from, and, they want to, some of them have good intentions, but they just don't. That's the way they know how to do it. So a lot of tough love, a lot of tough people to deal with, but you just keep your eyes on the goal, and what you want to accomplish, and definitely, with the help of God, been able to excel and continue to grow. So started as a helper. Let's get into a little bit of the industry. So basically, there's different.
Yeah.
You
So
start
that's
as
what
a
I'm gonna
helper.
ask you. So what is well, you want to get into so you want to get straight into how you got in as an elevator maintenance expert, or do you want to just go ahead and tell people what an elevator maintenance expert is in general?
Okay, we could do a little bit of both. I'll give you a little bit of my personal story,
Okay.
which it'll be the general standard information for whoever might be listening to us and is interested in maybe joining this industry. But definitely, any electrical background would definitely help, for you to get your foot on in the door. But you start as a helper. They call it apprentice. You go through that process of learning, getting, to know the ropes of the business. After that, you become what's called an A helper. So basically, you're still a helper, but you're somebody that can now be left alone and do certain work on your own. You don't need full supervision all the time. So after that, if you prove to be somebody that can, handle your way around the equipment and need to do what needs to be done, then you can become what's called a B helper. So I'm so sorry, B mechanic. So then B mechanic, then you'll be like an A mechanic, and that should be like the top mechanic, and then from there foreman, supervisor, and so on. Basically management and all of that. So started as a helper, and I think I was a helper maybe 3 years, 4 years, and learned I also have a little bit of a language barrier coming from Dominican Republic, so it took me maybe a little longer to get to know the industry, the parts, the equipment, all of that. But somebody gave me the opportunity. I was working for this company called Dongo Elevator, and somebody branched out of that company, opened his own company, and basically gave me the opportunity to be a mechanic. He said, look,
Yeah.
I need mechanics. And I said, let's do it. Why not?
So it goes to show you, man, that when you're determined to make something out of yourself, the language barrier didn't stop you. You went, you kept on learning the language at the same time, learning the language and learning the industry both at the same time. And it must have been a big challenge for you, brother. But nevertheless, you never let that, steer you the wrong direction. You kept on fighting for your dream, and you got it, man. I'm proud of you, bro. Honestly, that's a great story you got, man. It's an amazing American dream story. We've had a lot of American dream episodes here, and you're definitely a prime example of it, for sure.
Yeah.
So you went to trade school for the elevator?
Well, actually, like I say, I started non-union, so I kind of started a little backwards, if you want to say. So I ended up going to school when I joined the union.
Oh, okay.
which it was in 2013. So basically, once if you go through the union, which I recommend to me, union power. I represent my brother, local 3 all the way. You go into the union and then you go into the apprenticeship program. So basically, that's 4 years of schooling. You go twice a week for like spring and fall semesters, just like no summers. And basically, it's a 4-year program. Once you finish that, you become, like I mentioned earlier, an A helper. Now you become an A helper. You could be left alone, do some of the work. Now, if you happen to be somebody, that naturally has a good, mechanical oriented mind and agility, I guess, they might make you a mechanic as soon as you finish school, and you go straight from helper to be mechanic, let's say. So, but through the union, there is schooling. There is an apprenticeship program, and it's actually paid. You actually get paid while going to school. So it's a great industry, great job, great opportunities. Like I said.
Well, that's a great incentive, man, because you got to make ends meet somehow. And if you're going to school for it, you're getting paid at the same time as you're an apprentice. That's great. But let's get down to the nitty gritty, man. What is an elevator maintenance mechanic? What is that? Let's talk about what it generalized. What is that title?
Okay, I just want
What do you guys do?
Like a little disclaimer, just to so our audience can get to know a little bit of the more of the industry. So yeah, I am an elevator maintenance mechanic. You and me know each other. That's my title. But there is 3 departments in our industry. There's 3 branches. There is what's called modernization, or mod. They call it mod for short for modernization. There's also the repair department, and then there's the maintenance and service department, which I belong to. So, we're going to talk about elevator maintenance and service, which I am. I mean, I think the word maintenance might explain a little bit of it. Once the elevator is built, once the elevator is already put in service, or maybe if the company acquires a contract with an already running elevator, we go in and maintain the equipment. We make sure the elevator maintenance mechanic just basically make sure that that it's a safe ride, that everything is in order, all the safety equipment, it's working as it should. You make sure that nothing is bypassed or rigged. I mean, there's people that unfortunately has taken shortcuts to get something done, and that can cause troubles along the line. So basically, we're there to make sure the everything is in order. We also, the building might have special needs, because let's say as an elevator guy, my company has this format. This is what we do. But when you go to the building might request other things. We're just trying to keep the client happy. You want to make the client kind of peace of mind that their equipment is taken care of, because I mean, believe it or not, a lot of people, it's like you say the word elevator, and it's like, oh, this big boogeyman, scary.
Yeah,
so
people are afraid of heights.
yeah, and people are
claustrophobic too.
Claustrophobic, and people are afraid of what they don't know and what cannot control. So like a building manager, a building owner, they don't know what the heck to do. So they want to have a company that, okay, look, you guys have the elevator, and it's a big liability. God forbid anything happens in elevators, big money. Immediately insurance kicks in, lawsuits, etc. So you want to make sure that you have a good mechanic, that you have a good company that is taking care of what you do. We also have some buildings. I don't think it's standard, but you have what's called consultant companies, kind of like the internal affairs of elevators. So you got cops that look after cops. We got companies that look after us and make sure that we, the elevator company, is doing what we are supposed to do. So they also come in and check the work. They survey the elevator, and they make sure that we're doing the maintenance that we do. Right. So basically, we maintain the elevators. We make sure that elevators are safe to ride. And they do. I mean, maybe not right now due to COVID, but elevators take a beating, bro. I mean, these things are going up and down constantly. I mean, millions of rides a week, millions. I mean, not thousands, millions. Maybe a day. I mean, imagine a building.
The elevator. Yeah, absolutely. I have a quick question though. What are the odds though of getting trapped in the elevator though? I mean, it does happen.
It does happen. I mean, really, I would say there's different factors that can impact those statistics, the odds of you getting stuck. Because if you get in an elevator, I don't know, let's say in a bad neighborhood, unfortunately, that the elevator is not well maintained.
Project, so I've been there so many times getting stuck. So,
I mean, let me tell you, the projects actually, housing has their own elevator department.
Okay.
So housing does spend money. They put money into the elevators. I have been in housing, but I haven't been like a lot to know what are the odds. I mean, maybe if you write it, but basically any elevator can get stuck without a doubt. I mean, every time you get in an elevator, that could be your ride right there, that you're going to get stuck, unfortunately. But if a well-maintained elevator, a building that actually invests the money to make sure that their equipment it's in good standard and good order. I mean, like me personally, I take care of 2 buildings in downtown Manhattan, and we go through a monthly meeting with our building managers. We have what's called like a shutdown report, and they don't want to see shutdowns. They don't want to see entrapment. They don't want to see shutdowns. So if they see 3, okay, good job. That was a good month. So, it all depends. I mean, what I'm saying, I cannot tell you all. 50%, every time you get on the elevator, there's a 50% chance that you could get. No, I mean, you might ride for 100 times, and then 101 time in the same elevator, boom, that's the one.
So, Jonathan, so basically, an elevator that's well maintained and serviced, the odds are very like slim to none, basically. The odds are very low. I mean, the risk
very low
because you're giving it service, maintaining it, making sure that it runs right. But at the end of the day, it is a machine, so all machines are susceptible to breaking down at one point, right? Even if you're
without a doubt.
Yeah.
Put it this way. I mean, that question that John just asked me, we get it a lot. So think about like airplanes and cars. People, you always hear that one big airplane accident. Unfortunately, it's catastrophic. But to this day, even with airplane accidents, flying is one of the safest ways to travel in the world, because
it is.
So the same goes with elevators. As much as you hear of, unfortunately, fatalities, accidents, and getting shut down, it's one of the safest means of vertical transportation in the world. I mean, these things go up and down, and like I said, I mean, if you're maintaining the equipment, you could have a good life.
There's no traffic when it's elevators because there's only one elevator going one direction, one destination, opposed to like cars, which is like on the same, the same road, which could be very dangerous. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying though. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's up and down, but let me tell you, I mean, I don't want to get into much of that because it's actually developing, but there's actually elevators that they're trying to go in not a circle, but like a vertical horizontal way.
See, Chris?
First wheel.
Talking all that caca earlier, right?
It's being developed.
It's being developed. It's not an actuality.
But there's a prototype out there. I know there is.
That'd be interesting though to see like that kind of like.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, I had a dream like 2 years ago that I was in an elevator that went left to right, and I was like, what the hell? So I was basically in one building. And then that elevator took me to another building and it went left. It's crazy. I had a dream. So, maybe I might be an innovator. I don't know. But anyway, well, mentally, at least, because I'm not building it. But so real quick. So you said there's different branches of the elevator industry. You are in the maintenance and service portion of it. So you're basically, you go in after it's already installed, right? You make sure that it continues to work properly, right? Correct.
Yes.
Okay. And that same token, what is the protocol for a proper maintenance of an elevator? How many times does it get maintenance or service per month, per year, yearly, quarter, whatever it is? Just can you break that down to us, please?
Good question. Excellent question. Yeah, definitely. So we all know money talks, BS walks, right? So it comes down to money sometimes, unfortunately. So I mean, like a building will pay for one visit a month per se, right? So that's the visit, that 1 month, one visit a month maintenance that we do. Now, if there's any trouble, shutdown, entrapment, then, we get to go there and maybe touch up a little bit extra on top of the regular maintenance. That's one way. Now, there's buildings, especially high-end buildings, and which is my case. I'm a resident mechanic, so I'm at the same location every day. I take care of 2 buildings in downtown Manhattan, so I get to see my elevators daily. I'm on top of my elevators every day. I actually have, I have 20 cars in one building, and I have 47 units under my contract, under my supervision. So in my case, my elevators get a lot of love, pretty much. They get a lot of attention, on a daily basis. So it all depends on the contract that the company has with the building. The building might want 2 visits a month, so that elevator is going to be seen two times a month. And in terms of the protocol, what you were saying, I didn't bring it, but maybe we do have what's called a maintenance lock, and each car by city code, by New York City code, has a maintenance lock, and then you can go through those items. Some of them are monthly, some of them are quarterly, and some of them are yearly. And so basically, when every month you take care of the monthly. On your 3rd month visit, you look at the quarterly, and so on. For the yearly, you look at the yearly stuff.
Given your expertise, what would be your recommended inspection period? Let's say, for instance, an elevator is very busy, like you mentioned. Let's say I have a building, I'm a landlord, I bought a commercial building or a residential building that has 100 units. To say there's probably like 1,000, 2,000 people that get on it per day. I mean, hypothetically speaking, like just in a rough general spectrum, what would be like the recommended inspection period or allotted time, you think?
Yeah, I think. I mean, if I can get your numbers again, I think they were a little high. I don't think that case is actually real. 1,000 elevators, you said?
No, 1,000 people getting on the elevator per day.
Per day. Okay.
Yeah, 1,000 people. Like let's say 1,000 people, or maybe the elevator goes up and down about like 1,000, 2,000 times per day. I mean, there's buildings where the elevators gets used a lot. Let's say, for instance, me, I worked in the hospitality business for a while, right? And I worked in a hotel. Me by myself, I remember like counting how many times I go up and down in the elevator per day, and it was like about like 60 or 80, and that's just me. There's like 1,000 people walking around in the hotel, so imagine that elevator gets used probably like more than 1,000 times a day.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would say with that particular 1,000 rides. I think I mentioned it to you before in the past. Like in my building, by 10 a.m. pre-COVID, of course, we had 3,000 people in the building by 10 a.m.
Shit.
From 7 a.m. in 3-hour period, 3,000 people already in their offices upstairs. So figure, and there's let's say eight. I have 16 elevators in those banks in that building. So 3,000 people went up through 16 cars. So, and then they got to come down to lunch, maybe for a break, then they go home. So yeah, we're talking about thousands of rides. I would personally recommend two times a month per car should be a good, because the regular visit, like I said, you always do that. And then like a second visit just to maybe go through things that you didn't go in the other visit, check everything, make sure everything is in place. I mean, a lot of people, I'm not in that aspect of the business, the financial, the administrative, so I don't really know maybe how much would it cost to add an extra visit to a contract. Yes. But I'm assuming it's a lot of money because, the most standard contract is always 1 visit per month. Is what you see kind of across, or residency, like I am, we're there every day, then they pay for the mechanic to be in-house every day. So twice a month, I think, is more than enough. These are very safe equipment. You also got to understand, on top of our maintenances, the city of New York, the Department of Buildings performs an inspection yearly. Every year, by code, you do get a city inspection, and that's every year with no waits, just testing every safety, every device, make sure everything is in place. And then every 5 years, they do what's called a full load test. And so the capacity of the elevator will be put in through weights, like steel weights.
Wow.
Okay.
And that's put inside the elevator. So you throw the car on safety. You create the worst case scenario and make sure that everything works the way as it should.
Test it out. Awesome. I have a quick question though. Like, I mean, now that elevators been transitioned though, when it first started, as far as like the speed of it, is that a good thing though? But I mean, as far as like now it go at a really fast speed though. Like now elevators can take you to your destination. Like, I mean, you could be like 40 flights up and get there like, like within 10 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes,
is
sir.
that a good thing though? Like, I mean, or is that a little dangerous though?
Um, a couple of ways we could answer that. First of all, it's what people want. People want speed. Of course, they want reliability and safety first, but speed is money, especially New York. Money, time is money. So if you could get my people into my office faster than what I had before, why not? As long as you do it in a safety manner, in a safe way. So it's what people, a lot of these companies, the pioneer companies like Otis, big companies, ThyssenKrupp, there's other names. The main companies are Otis, ThyssenKrupp, Schindler Elevator. This is what they're doing, man. They're working on a daily basis to just come with the next big new device, new generation, newer speed. So in terms of the speed, like I said before, all of this will be tested. None of this is just going to be thrown out there. So if you get in an elevator that is super fast, best assured that it's being tested thousands of times before it even went to the market, before it became something to be sold to the customer. Like, example, Otis Elevator has their own testing facility up in Connecticut. It's like a big tube, and you could look this up. It's a big white tube in the middle of nowhere, and in there they just throwing cars on safety, running elevators at a very high speed, just working on the next big thing. So I think, yeah, so people want speed, people want also space is a big thing now. The more space you could save, real estate. So if you could have good equipment, fast equipment, using the less amount of space in a building, the less real estate, that's another thing that people are trying to accomplish. So these devices are becoming smaller and smaller. They're shrinking, just like our cell phones are getting smaller and faster every day. This industry is striving for the same as well.
Listen,
so
man, I've been on elevators, man, where I gotta like my gut, like my bowels, be like, oh damn, like I gotta hold my breath sometimes. Like you feeling like a roller coaster. Whoop. I'm like, wow,
without a
that's
doubt,
crazy.
I had the I had the opportunity of riding the elevator in I don't know the name right now, but it's the tower in Toronto next to the Rogers Stadium. I believe it's I forgot the name right now. We could look it up, but basically, it's almost 1,000 feet tall, and from the ground to the top, 57 seconds, 57 seconds, and it's a glass enclosure, so you've seen everything as you're going up. You can see down, aside. I mean, it's surreal. It's crazy.
That's something scary.
Yeah. Look that up. Maybe you want to write it through the internet. Not live.
That's something with the speed that's always fascinated me, is like when you go into these like tall high-rise buildings, you step in and as soon as you rise up, you feel that speed. That was always one of the scariest things for me.
Yeah, like I said, maybe for me now it's a second nature. It's what I do. I also should be more cautious because as I get older or more knowledgeable, maybe I get more complacent. But when a lot of the riders you get in, you don't know what's going on. You put in your life pretty much in these four walls, the doors close, and you just pray to God that when the doors open, you are where you're supposed to be. So, a lot of people like, I don't.
You're right about that. That's true.
So
I
that
think
tower that you spoke of in Canada, in Toronto, Canada, it's actually the world's tallest tower. And
Okay.
It is?
it stands 33 floors. Yes, the world's tallest tower. Yep.
What's the name of it? What's the name of the
It's called
tower?
the CN. C as in
Yes.
Charlie, N as in Nancy. CN Tower in Toronto.
CN Tower. Yes.
Toronto. Yep. So
Correct.
yeah, it definitely has one of the fast. It has the fastest elevator that goes up the fastest in the world too.
Very fast, very fast. And it's glass. Like I said, on top of all of this, you're seeing everything as you're going up. You see the floor getting farther and further away from you. You see all this, just the walls going. I mean, it's just to add speed plus the visual of it. It's amazing. It's a great experience.
It's like being in a roller coaster, man.
Yeah, straight
Oh, man.
one.
But yeah, so So yeah, man. I mean, this is an interesting topic that we're having today, and we're glad to have you on, man. Because, like I said earlier at the beginning of the episode, man, your expertise and what you do is very unappreciated by the public. They don't understand like what it takes to make that that equipment run every day properly, and that their life depends on it, bro. Like honestly, a lot of people don't go up the stairs because they're lazy.
Mm.
They want the elevator. Like in my apartment building where I live at, I know people who live on the second floor and they still take the elevator. Or they
Yes,
live on
sir.
the second floor and they gotta take the elevator down. Like I understand taking the elevator up, but taking it down, you gotta be kidding me. Like second floor,
Yeah.
just walk down, man. But anyway, people their life depends on this device. They call the elevator device, right? Or contraption, however you want to call it. But Chris Ryder, you got any questions since you were an apprentice yourself, Chris Ryder, not for the elevator industry, but he's a butcher. He kills cows for a living. Do you have any questions for Jonathan? Perez?
Sure. Sure.
He's a butcher. He's a butcher.
The structure that you laid out is pretty much standard for any like trade business. You know, you start off as an apprentice, then you move
Yes.
up to the middle guy, then you become the the main guy, like the A mechanic, like you said, and then you become the master. One of my always fears whenever I leave an elevator is seeing that gap, ready
Mm.
to go. That's always been like my phobia is like that shit like just coming down. Sometimes I like subconsciously just like run out, you know. What are like some of the safety protocols? Like, let's talk about I guess some of what makes an elevator run. Some of the equipment, the safety, what makes it go up, what makes it go down,
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Perfect. Yeah. I just wanted to add a fun fact, I guess. One of those Snapple facts to what Nelson said before
Snapple
about being
facts.
a Snapple
Snapple
fact.
facts at dinner at the round table. Let's get it.
Number 217. You talk about being unappreciated in this industry, and one of the things I want to add to that is think about this: we do all our work and we're not seen. So if you are a lawyer, if you are a janitor, if you are people are seeing you doing what you do. We are in the shaftway. We are where people don't get to be. So. A lot of people, a lot of our work and what we do for the elevator to be a safe ride is done behind the curtain.
Yeah.
So it is good. We
And
thank you all for having this opportunity to let us say what we do and have some exposure. And we take pride in what we do. I definitely know that people's lives are in our hands. When we do this, so
Yeah.
it's
So that's one of the reasons why we wanted to bring you on because, like I said earlier in the interview, like you guys are unappreciated because you guys are out of sight, out of mind. When you're out of sight, out of mind, as you say, you work behind the scenes. People don't get to really acknowledge the importance of your job. Your job is very important. Like millions, thousands, and millions of people's lives depend on the service that you guys provide. And I'm glad that we was able to provide this knowledge because we are the source of knowledge. Then at the round table to the public and for those listening out there, man, give a round give a round of applause from your home to Jonatan Perez and his his industry and his peoples, man, because they definitely are taking care of you every day.
We're taking care of them, and we're taking care in the city with most elevators in North America. There are over 84,000 elevators in New York City only.
Oh yeah,
84,000 units. So
yeah, definitely.
and we ain't going nowhere but up. We just continue to go.
So,
Well, that's one thing though. That the New York City elevator is only going up as far as population goes, right?
Yeah. So
But we are the largest city in the United States. So I mean, it's only right. We have the most skyscrapers, residential, commercial buildings.
Japan will be second to us. Japan will be the second largest city with most elevators.
Well, Japan has the highest population in the world as far as like city wise, so that makes sense. Yeah,
definitely. So going back to Chris' question, I mean, I wish I had some pictures. I don't know if we could add that later, but what makes an elevator move is pretty much we'll call Sometimes I lack a certain word, but like rotary equipment. So it's a machine, it's a motor, call it a hoist motor. So this motor, I mean, if you guys seen any type of motor, a motor for like a air conditioning unit per se with a belt, and then the motor is spinning. So imagine this motor now in a bigger scale, and then that motor has what we would call we called it the sheath or pulley, and in that pulley you have grooves where the elevator ropes will sit, and one end goes to the top of the elevator. That's just your traditional model. There's different models of elevators, but the traditional, if you look it up anywhere, you got ropes going on top of the car, and the other end goes to a set of weights or what's called a counterweight to help the motor with especially when you load the car with people, you want to help the motor to do what it needs to do when it's to rotate. So that's basically the heart of the elevator is that machine, which usually it's in the top floor, it's in a room in the roof, or it could be also what's called a basement traction machine. So there's applications that the machine is in the basement, and so basically it works opposite. Basically, you have the machine in the basement, and then some wheels in the roof that would deflect the ropes so they can land or go where they need to be. So that's the heart of it. Now you have what's called also the controller. You have a control that controls all the demand, the motions, all the safety, all the electrical equipment is in this controller, and that will be. I think that's really the heart and brain. You will say the machine is the heart, and that controller is the brain of the elevator. You will program that elevator to run a certain speed, how many floors, how many openings, where to stop, make sure it stops at a certain speed, and when to open the doors. Make sure that you don't open the door in the middle of the floor. You want to open that door
Right.
at the floor level. All of this is done through microchips, computers, and programming pretty much. That will be another department. I'm not there yet, but that's like the engineering department, and they do all this programming and a lot of crazy stuff, really. But that's about it.
The brain to the elevator, right? Pretty much.
Say that again,
The
John.
controller.
Brain. Like the human body, right? The brain that actually controls exactly what to do.
Yes.
Yeah, well, your movement, this and that. You have to control it. Stop, go, open, don't go. Go faster, go slower. Pretty much.
So the controller is like the brain, like the human brain. It tells the body what to do, and the body being the elevator, and then the controller being the brain. All right, great. So I was gonna ask you a question regarding that. Are there as far as elevator goes? I've seen this video of these elevators that work on hydraulic systems. Is there
Yes.
those type of elevators too? Those are like
Yeah.
not traditional though. Those are like more modern hydraulics.
No. They're being out for long. Actually, that's a fun fact too. Before hydraulics, elevators, there was actually elevators that were moved by water
Oh,
pressure,
really?
and then steam elevators as well. There was steam, water, and now we have moved into hydraulics through oil.
Yeah, because elevators have existed
pressurized
even
oil.
before. Elevators existed before even Christ was around. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
we
what I've
have
heard.
we
The
the lift.
Egyptians,
The
lift.
concept of the
lifting.
lift has before the Egyptians. So basically, you have this platform being pulled by people with a pulley and a rope, pretty much hemp rope. So that concept being out forever. So what we did in the 1800s through Elisha Otis, actually, where the name Otis elevators come from, the man that invented the safety elevator. He created the safety device which pretty much put people in elevators. Now people were able to ride safely, and use it like that. But the concept of a lift has been for ages, like you said, definitely.
So the hydraulic that we was talking about,
Yeah.
from the steam driven to hydraulic power. Could you explain that to us real quick? Because I know the hydraulic system uses water pressure, right? As most of
It
the
used to. Now they're using oil, hydraulic oil.
Okay.
Those are discontinued, the water ones. But it started like that. I mean, hydraulic oil came from the concept of using pressurized water, and then I guess with some sort of machinery, you push that pressurized water, and this will push the elevator. But the thing about hydraulic elevators, they are usually used in small buildings.
I
You
see.
cannot, yeah, because think about it, it's like water pressure as well. Like when you do buildings, I don't know how familiar everybody is, but you will have sometimes you have a water tower in the roof, because it's easier to send that water down from the roof than from the lobby all the way up to the 40th floor. You will
It
need
needs more pressure. It needs more
needs more
pressure.
pressure as high as you go. So what they do is, let's say the system in the basement sends the water all the way to the 20th floor, and then you have a water tank on the roof to feed the top floors and send the water down instead of up. So same concept will be for the hydraulic elevator. How much can you really push this oil? How high can you really do it safely and without losing pressure? Because if you lose pressure, pretty much the elevator is coming down. So it's a pressurized system, and it's using, 7, 8 floors at most. You might see a hydraulic elevator 7, 8 floors the most. So basically, it's a piston. It's a pressurized oil inside some sort of caster. They call it a jack, the hydraulic jack. And you could have a piston that pushes the elevator from underneath, or you could have pistons on the side of the elevator, the box, and you have the pistons on the side attached to the top of the car, and basically that will, pull the elevator up to the pressurized oil. That's pretty much the concept. You have what is it called? A reservoir where the oil is stored in the basement, wherever the machine room is, for the controller, the brain, all of that. And that's it. The oil gets pumped out to send the elevator up, and the oil gets released back into the reservoir through a system of valves to have the elevator descend all the way down. So that's really the concept of hydraulic elevator.
Guys, you guys have any more questions? I have the public. The public is asking. You got a big fan base here, Jonathan. You're a famous mechanic here. I got some people asking questions. Our co-host. Do you guys have any questions so we could get into the public?
Fans.
You want me to get into the public? All right, guys. So we got a question from Manuel J. Torres. This is a funny one. Do all elevator mechanics wear Yankee hats? That was from Manuel Torres.
Nah, only the ones that work in the best city in the whole world, New York, baby. I think that guy might be a Boston fan. That's what it is.
Yeah, I know, right? Why is he concerned about Yankee hats? I think we know who
New
you
York,
are,
baby.
buddy. You can't hide behind your YouTube name, right? Then we have Jarices Reyes. What do you have to do to become an elevator mechanic?
Great question.
That already, right? Do you or no?
A little bit, but it's a great question, because one of the main I wanted to do this interview, and hopefully if there's anybody out there listening to us and maybe don't know what I want to do, I don't know what the heck, we all been there, like, where is life going to take me? So maybe you get an interest for elevators. So it's good to explain that. There's 2 ways, and the first one, it will be the simple way. I don't necessarily recommend it, because I was there and now I am where I am. But you could go online, you could find a list of elevator companies and start calling, and start entry level. Oh, I don't have, of course, if you have like any tool manual labor experience, if you could handle a drill, a hammer, that's going to be a plus. But you start calling, and God willing, somebody says, we'll take you in for it. They're going to kill you. They're going to give you 10, 11 dollars. They're going to give you pennies, but you're in the door now. Now you're getting the knowledge and the experience of being in the actual work. That's one way. Now the other way, which is the way, like right now, thank God I'm union, and it's the right way to go. I don't recommend no other way but union, because the union is a family. It's a brotherhood. The benefits will be extended to you and your family. and you're really able to, work like a gentleman, like a decent human being. And then you have the union backing you up, fighting for your benefits, fighting for your salary, fighting for better pay, better everything. So I highly recommend joining a union, a labor union, if possible. There is my particular union. I believe, I don't know, everything has changed with COVID, but it was every 2 years. I actually, if he's watching, my brother-in-law, I took him with me when the test was available. And so I think it's every 2 years. It has to do every 2 years, also with the amount as many people retire, because we have
Okay.
59 and a half is the early retirement year. So the more mechanics, the more people retire, the more they open the door for new entry level people.
Right.
Yeah,
So
man, it makes sense.
yeah, so for the people that are listening, I'll tell you right now.
While you're looking that up, I'm gonna continue with the follow-up question. You can answer that one. Continue to finish that one, but I'm just gonna put this one in your ear. This is Manuel Torres again. He's asking me. He's asking. These guys throwing in some great questions here. He's asking that you mentioned that there's 84,000 elevators in New York City. Do you know the numbers of mechanic available in New York City? The elevator maintenance mechanics. Do you know that number as well? An estimate. An estimate.
I mean, no. I mean, you will need to know how many companies are in New York City, how many employees at every company.
That guy's definitely a Boston Red Sox fan. He threw a curveball there.
True that. Must be. But there's a lot of them. We are, and let me tell you, which is a curious, like a funny thing. I mean, we are a lot of us, but it's a very tight community. I mean, everybody knows everybody. The names is big. You always, when you hear an elevator mechanic, you introduce yourself with name and last name. And such and such. Oh, this name. And people know each other. The word spreads around. And as many elevators are in New York, we are not that many. I guess, they call us like a rare breed, I mean, we're like, hybrid or like a rare breed, because who the heck gets in an elevator on top of it, under the car? I mean, who's thinking to do this? But, you do what you got to do, and then it becomes second nature, I guess. Yeah. So going back to the question of how to join, what I would recommend right now, because of COVID, is just to monitor this website, because this is where they would release news and dates and when the application will be available. So pretty much once that date is out there, you will have to go to what's called the JATC, is the Joint Apprentice Training Committee of the elevator industry. It's in Long Island City. And basically you do the line and you get a number. And if you're lucky enough, you get a number, and that number will secure you an application. Once you get that application, you're going to have a date to go for a test. So it's going to be a kind of entry-level test, but, like math and some mechanical question, nothing crazy, but, you should have like at least a GED level of knowledge. Like if you're going for your GED, it's equal to that. Once you pass that test, based on your grade and your score, it will determine when you get called. So the higher the score, the earlier you get a phone call to continue with the process.
Right.
Wow.
So you want to score high, so you don't have to wait for 2-3 years. If you got I think the lowest is a 70. Anything below 70, you don't get it. But if you have 100, that's it. You're next.
There you have it, folks. I mean, go get that number, and you never might be called one day to go take that test. Make sure you're prepared. Bring a number 2 pencil, sharpened.
I don't know if you want to post their website, but it's JEOJATC.com.
So for our audience out there, our public, we will have all the links, all the information on under the video links for the YouTube video. All the information will be there. All the information will be on the digital podcast platforms. But on YouTube, you can go after this episode, check out all the links, all the information that Jonatan Perez has provided for those looking to be an elevator maintenance mechanic. Okay.
Let me ask you this though: what's the average salary that you come into when you get into that field though? I think a lot of people want to know that too as well. The average salary.
Definitely, it's a good salary. I mean, like I mentioned before, it's in stages. So, you have your helper, entry level, A helper, and then mechanic, BA mechanic, and so on. As an apprentice, if I'm not mistaken, we just actually signed a new contract because we get three-year labor contracts. Our contract was just signed right now at the end of February for the next 3 years. Thank God. In the middle of pandemic, we were able to secure 3 years of work. And I believe an apprentice right now starts at $23, $23 an hour to start. And after that, 2 years increase every year for 4 years. So we're talking about by the end, $8. He'll be out making $31 by the time he finishes his apprenticeship.
Oh wow, okay, so it's double the minimum wage.
Yeah, so what's yeah, so
Yeah.
basically entry level, you would say about like 40,000 a year entry level once you're done with the apprentice around there. So
Yeah.
35 to 40,000, then top pay is probably like 60 or 80, right?
Yeah. And this takes me back to my point when I was recommending go union, because if you go private, you don't have no say on your salary. I mean, the company's going to say, this is what we're paying. And okay, you take it or leave it. But in the union fights for your salary, and it's a set rate. They cannot pay you below that rate. So if you get in, you're blessed.
That's the good thing. We're going through the union and taking the actual proper steps, because now you can demand the entry level pay as opposed to you just coming in out of the woodworks. You're not gonna get top pay because you're not protected, right? So, Jonathan, real quick, I want to get into the history of elevators. I want to get into the history of Otis, Elijah Otis, the one that created the elevators, right? I want to get into that, and also to the top elevators in the world, right? But before we start off on that, when me and you had a one-on-one conversation before you came onto the show, you were telling me something about certification now, about New York State making it a law to be a certified, because regarding all the incidents that have happened. I know, like in the last year, there's been some real bad accidents with elevators that have happened, particularly in New York City.
Yeah.
So could you elaborate on that a little bit, more or less? Do you remember what we spoke about regarding the
Yeah.
certifications and being certified?
Yes, definitely. So I don't know what to call it. I don't really have the history in terms of why not New York City does not demand a license for this business. But we are able to go through the apprenticeship or maybe gain experience in a private company. And what you do, you go and do it. Now, the company is liable for all the work and that everything is done the right way. But for some reason, you do need a license maybe to be a plumber in New York, but you don't need a license for this job. Now that's changing. That is changing. Everything it's in the process. And like you mentioned, due to some unfortunate accidents and fatalities that have happened in elevators here in New York. So I believe the last accident that kind of put the bill back in the governor's desk was in Kips Bay. It was a young man, unfortunately, early morning, 7 a.m., going to work. And I think there was a brake failure. That's what happened. So he was getting off the car, and the car just kept going down, unfortunately. And he got trapped between the car and the floor. And, the parents of that kid, basically, they took it to the governor, and they I think that it's in the process right now. I mean,
They
we
made a
will have
big
to
fuss about it, right? I mean,
make a big fuss, all right?
you're
And
talking
they,
about Kitts Bay. That's a prominent area with
yeah,
I mean, let's be real. The people who live there are from higher society, right? They make six-figure salaries. So when something happens to an important person, or people who make money or have money, more attention is brought to it, right? Because I'm sure there's been other incidents in poor areas of the city where the attention hasn't been brought as much as this, right? But nevertheless, it's great that the attention is being brought now. And I think the certification process, like me and you spoke about, and as you mentioned now currently during the interview, I think that would add like a little oomph to your expertise, knowing that now, there's a license required. It makes you more of a professional, and it makes your expertise more of like unique in a sense, right? Correct. So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
And just to, I mean, you know, we all know. I don't know who knows about politics or not, but things get signed, and then there's a long time to things to be applied. You know, so the law actually was signed last year for the first time. It says that
Oh,
Cuomo signed the legislation to improve the elevator safety, which will require all personnel involved in elevators to be trained and licensed to do this work.
It
Now,
makes
when is this going to kick in? I don't know, but we could read about that, follow up on that. Now, yes, in terms of the license, what I understand so far, like I said, this is very uh, unknown territory for a lot of us because it's new. It just happened. Like I said, this legislation was signed last year, but I think I know so that our training through the union will qualify as a license. They will grandfather in people that have gone through the training in our union
got you.
to be licensed. So if you don't have that, and let's say you do have the experience, they're probably going to set up some type of testing. Like there's already testing. Let's say if you want to become a city inspector, there's testing already that is set through you do through the city, and if you qualify and you meet the qualifications, you take the test, fine, you become a city inspector. So I think it will be something similar for those people that are not union, let's say, but they've been in the business, have the experience, and just need the license to continue to work now legally in New York City. So, but for people that are in the union and people that have finished the apprenticeship program, once finished, will qualify you as a licensed elevator technician in New York City.
But that makes sense, though. I mean, you want to have someone who actually, certified, actually, that's actually proven that they know what they're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I get the logics behind that.
Yeah, like I say, I mean, this is something that honestly I've always been interested, but having like do the research. But why not? Why it took this long, and this accidents and this unfortunate events to happen? I don't really have the answer for that right now. But of course, you will want somebody trained, certified. I mean, these are people are lives that depends on these devices every day.
That's right.
And not and that's the people, that's the public. What about also the worker, the technician? You don't want to have your boss sending you to, oh, go take care of this, and you want to keep your job, you want to prove him that you could do it, but now you're putting yourself in harm's way because you're not trained. You don't have the necessary training, the necessary knowledge. You don't want to say no. You don't want to you want to impress this person, told him that you can depend on me, and then something crazy happens. So the whole training and licensing is going to benefit both sides of the aisle, public and the worker itself.
Absolutely, I agree. I definitely agree with that, man. Because again, you're about that. You are, you're taking a risk though. As soon as you walk, as soon as you step inside the elevator though, as far as as far as who's behind that, as far as the repairing whatever the case is, you're right about that.
And there's legal ramifications as well. I mean, for a technician, God forbid, you the last person that touched that elevator before an unfortunate event happens. They're going to track your name. They're going to be who was here, who did it, who worked on it, and so you want to be licensed. You want to have the training, so you know that what you're doing is the right way to do things.
It's crazy as you say though. It reminds me when I was in high school. It was someone got trapped in an elevator. I think it was the longest ever. I think recorded. He was trapped for 41 hours. It happened here in New York. 41 hours. I forgot his name. But I was I remember like it was yesterday though. Like I saw it in the news. It was crazy. 41 hours he was trapped in the elevator. That's crazy.
Maybe we can add that to the notes in that, because there's a video on YouTube of that guy. The CCTV recording of the security system of the building recorded him.
Right, that's right. Yeah. Exactly.
He went in on a Friday night for his night shift. He worked in the mailroom, got in the elevator, and got trapped in the blind shaft. That's called the blind shaft. Basically, you have elevators that you get in the lobby, and the next stop, let's say, is the 20th floor. There's no stops between lobby and 20. They call it the blind shaft or the express zone. So he got trapped in the 7th level, but there's no doors. It's just freaking cement.
Wow.
And the security guard, I don't know what was happening, but he never saw him on the monitor. He never saw the guy in the monitor there being trapped. He's ringing the alarm, everything. So he went in there, got trapped on a Friday night. He got rescued on a Monday morning.
That is crazy, man.
That is insane, man.
Insane, man. And that's
there's actually footage of that. If people want to go see it, just type it. Just type person trapped in elevator 48 hours and you can see the video of that. It's crazy.
Jonathan, real quick, what's the worst horrific elevator incident or accident that you've ever heard of or experienced yourself from your colleagues telling you?
Well, by the grace of God, I have never witnessed or been involved in an accident or a fatality. Thank God. I have been involved in rescuing people being trapped in the elevator and very high risk, dangerous rescues. But to answer your question, I believe we could look it up real quick, but there's a lady, she was a marketing lady in Madison. This was all over the news. And let me see. I think the company is actually out of they're no longer in service. Transel Elevator. There was an accident. Let me see real quick, just to people know the details. But yeah, basically it happened in Madison Avenue, 285 Madison. Unfortunately, this woman, there was 3 people already inside the elevator, and I don't if anybody pays attention to this thing. Sometimes you can see you in the lobby, the elevator is there with the doors open. It's on a timer, so the doors will stay open, let's say for 30 seconds, just to allow people to get in, and then the doors close. So there was already 3 people inside the elevator. It was a Monday morning, I believe, or a Tuesday morning, so rush hour, and there was 3 people inside the car already. She runs into the elevator to try to catch it, and 1 foot inside the elevator, 1 is outside, and the elevator just shoot up upwards, and it caught her in her torso. Unfortunately, between the elevator floor and the building, I guess the frame of the entrance, and
wow.
And it was really graphic. It was really bad. The people inside the elevator also were traumatized, because what they saw there. And I, I'm not trying to I don't want to get gory or anything, but she actually got cut in half, unfortunately.
Oh my God, man. That's definitely some Final Destination type of horrific, gory death, right? Damn, God bless her soul, man. Whoever she is, I'm not too sure. I don't know her. But my sympathies and condolences to her and her family. But yeah, man, I mean, let's just get into the history real quick. Then we will come back with some safety measures that you can discuss. You being an expert in elevator maintenance, safety measures, and to debunk certain myths and certain things that confusion that some of our guests or public might have regarding what to do in an event that something happens inside of an elevator. We're gonna get right back to that. But in the meanwhile, let's bring up these nice, interesting facts here. The history of elevators. We're gonna bring up the history of elevators. This is from elevatorhistory.net. So you're getting it straight from the source. No ifs and buts about it. I mean, Jonathan, you're the expert. You can debunk a few things if you see anything that's not correct. But for the most part, I mean, I did my little research on it. I think it sounds accurate, but I'm not an expert. You are. So let's go. So the history of elevators. Interesting about elevators. Since the dawn of time, humans sought the way for more efficient vertical transportation of freight and passengers to different levels. These devices for transport goods up and down represent first elevators. The reason why we're going through this, you have listeners, they listen to the audio version only of our podcast, our radio show, right? They don't get to see this part, so we have to explain it in depth, right? So we're gonna try to explain it the best that we can. I'm gonna continue with the second paragraph. Maybe you could do the rest with me, Jonathan. Okay. So I'm gonna go. Elevator history begins several hundred years before Christ. several hundred years before Christ, Jesus Christ, JC, the man, the Messiah, you know what I'm saying, the Son of
Amen.
God. The earliest, my savior, I believe in Jesus Christ. The earliest elevators were called hoist, like you said earlier, hoist, right? They were powered
Yes.
by human and animal power. So you had an elephant pushing this, pale camello, something, or sometimes water-driven mechanics. No, water-driven mechanisms that were used as early as the 3rd century BC before Christ. All right, Jonathan, you was gonna say something?
Yeah, no, well, I mean, I think we touched on some of these things earlier. The concept of a lift or a hoist, it's been with us for a long time. So what this website is saying is it's accurate, you know, and I think you will see them in different like farms and different type of constructions. I mean, think about the pyramids, in Egypt. How the heck they put the top stone up there? I mean, you're walking up there, you know. So they hoist it.
Yeah.
So the hoisting idea has been with us for a long time. It's just that it's been done through either human force or animal driven force.
Yeah.
Most likely a horse. I don't know about an elephant, but you know.
But look at the hoist, right? There's a picture there. Look, there's a little picture here to the right. There's a man inside of a little cart, and there he's either pulling himself up with some wheels there. That's a hoist right there, right? Correct?
Yeah. I mean, the hoist is just the idea of the whole pulling something. I believe, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you might be able to
Right.
educate me more on the terminology, but hoisting, any type of mechanics of you actually raising or lifting something, you know, or descending, actually sending it down. That's where the word hoist will come. Now, that's why when we talk about actual elevators, I use more the word lift, because, you know, now you're involving a platform and you're hoisting that platform. So the whole concept of hoisting the platform, we call it lift, and eventually somebody came with the word elevator, I guess, as you elevate something.
Okay.
So
yeah, makes sense.
that's the history of that. Well, as you can see right there, immediately goes to Elisha Otis.
Yes.
And
So
1852.
So we're going to continue here with the document. Modern elevators were developed during the 1800s. These crude elevators slowly evolved from steam-driven to hydraulic power, which we spoke about already. So we was ahead of the game already, huh? See that, Jonathan? The first hydraulic elevators were designed using water pressure, as our expert Jonatan Perez described, as a source of power. So we're the source of knowledge. Hydraulic elevators were the source of power to water pressure elevators. So there you go. They were used for conveying materials in factories, warehouses, mines. Hydraulic elevators were often used in European factories. In 1852, Elisha Graves Otis, which if you ever been into an elevator, you see the marking in the entrance of the elevator. When you step foot into an elevator, before where the doors close at, it says Otis there, guaranteed. Almost every elevator in the world has that. Introduced her. So in 1980, in 1852, Elisha Graves Otis introduced the first safety elevator, meaning the first elevator that can be safely ride by multiple human beings without having casualties. Correct?
Yes, basically, basically, I think he made a demonstration with himself. He went into, let me see, what is it called?
There's not him here in this picture, right?
No. There's I mean, you can look it up. There's actual, I mean, not a picture, but there's a drawing of when he did it. It was actually here in New York.
Oh,
it
really?
was in,
all right. So if you can find it, definitely pull it up there and send it to me.
Yeah, it got done in March 23, 1857. So it says here that Otis had demonstrated how it worked a few years earlier in a dramatic demonstration at America's first World's Fair at the Crystal Palace, which is now Bryant Park in New York City.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so this is 1857, and basically he rolled the platform high in the air, and then he ordered someone to cut the rope.
What the hell?
So he basically put himself in the platform, hoisted it up, and then somebody cut that rope And basically, that's when he demonstrated what's called the safety elevator. What he created was the safety mechanism that didn't allow that platform to plunge all the way to the ground.
So yeah, so he's basically showing proof, basically.
Yeah, basically. And then from that moment on, he revolutionized
He
the world, because now
he was
you
like, I present to you the first safety elevator. Cut the ropes, Jonathan. Bang.
It was crazy because think about it. You cannot. I seen a couple of documentaries on this. You wouldn't build. Builders, engineers would not build anything higher, I believe, than 5 floors or 6 floors. Who's going to walk 7 floors? Who are you going to sell the floors upstairs? Ain't nobody walking 7 floors every day. So once he introduced this new apparatus, this new invention, revolutionized the world. Now you can build as high as the skies, and that's where we are today. If you look around, if you go to Dubai and some of these
great
high towers, big cities. I mean, Dubai has the tallest buildings in the world.
But I say Dubai has the tallest, it has the tallest towers in Dubai.
Yes, exactly. That would not been possible without an elevator. It would have never happened if an elevator would not be a safety elevator would not have been produced.
All right, yeah. So let's continue here. Otis established a company for manufacturing elevators that went to dominate the elevator industry. Today, the Otis Elevator Factory is the world's largest manufacturer of vertical transport systems. Revolution in the elevator technology began with the invention of hydraulic and electricity. Motor technology and control methods evolved rapidly, and electricity quickly became the accepted source of power. The safety and speed of these elevators was significantly enhanced. The first electric elevator was built by the German inventor Juan von Siemens in 1880.
Interesting. Because a lot of parts, electrical parts, that's the name, Siemens. There's actually a company, you might see their vans in the street. They're Siemens Electric. So they produce their own parts.
Oh, I've seen it before. I had no idea they were the ones that actually providing the electricity for it, right?
Yeah, because you gotta understand that it's good to have this clear. Otis didn't invent the elevator. People need to know this because I think it gets confused out there. Otis invented the safety device that is in place to this day, and every single elevator, and I think we touched on this before, it gets tested once a year and every 5 years with full capacity. That's what it's tested in those tests, is the safety. We throw the car, we call it on safety. Yeah, we throw the car on safety. That's how we call it. So that's what Elijah Otis invented. And of course, from that point on, he wanted to invent his own elevators. But like we just read, that guy invented the actual first electric elevator, von Siemens.
So, all right. So in 1889, the first commercially successful electric elevator was installed. In 1887, an electric elevator with automatic doors that would close off the elevator shaft was patented. The invention made elevators safer. Many changes in the elevator design and installation was made by the great advances in the electronic systems during World War II. Space elevators use the same concept of classic elevator. They will be used to transport people to space stations. This concept theoretically can considerably reduce the cost for putting a person in space. Today, modern commercial buildings commonly have multiple elevators with a unified control system, as Jonathan spoke earlier. In addition, all modern elevators have special override controls to make elevators go directly to a specific floor without intermediate stops. Or immediate stops. Intermediate? Yeah, intermediate stops. Sorry. But yeah, so there you go. So 1987, 1989, in 1889, we have the first commercially successful electric elevator installed. In 1887, prior to that, the one with the automatic doors was introduced, and it was patented, right? It was patented to make it safer.
Yes. Yeah. I think now that I'm reading this with you, I mean, think about, I don't know if people might have seen this, but it's called scissor gates. So you will have an attendant or an operator inside the first elevators ever produced. Somebody will be with you with some sort of a lever, up and down. So you get in, you get in the car, the enclosure. He closes this gate. You've probably seen them in New York. There's still some of them still out there. They call scissor gates. And he will close that door and, okay, let's go up. Boom. So I guess what we're learning here is also when the automatic doors were invented, which now,
Right.
basically the elevator became full automatic. All you have to do is get in and tell the elevator what floor you want to go, and the rest is done
Yeah.
via mechanic and the controller.
That was the end of the elevator operator.
Pretty much,
I
brother.
know, right? Remember, what floor
That
you want to
kills,
go, sir?
that kills some jobs. That kills some jobs. So
Yeah, it did.
unfortunately, that's the way. That's the way the cookie crumbles.
So, according to the elevator history, the ancient Greeks made the first elevators using pulleys and winches,
Winches. Yeah,
winches. Yeah, yeah.
we're gonna have to
So modern
look that up.
elevators become widely available just over 150 years ago. Um, Today's elevators can reach speeds as 1,000 meters per minute. Wow, as fast as a
Yeah,
1,000 meters per minute. That's pretty fast.
that's pretty fast. Yeah, that's actually the European measuring. We measure the speed here in the States in feet per minute.
Okay,
Yeah, so
all right.
anything.
So here are some fun facts about the elevators and escalators. Elevator has been around for many years, but escalators too. People always search for ways to easily transport the goods and people from one place to another. An escalator is a type of transport device that moves people. Escalator that we know today was created in 1859. So the escalator, which is it looks like it's an electronic stairwell, right? Basically, was created in 1859. The first escalator-like machine was developed by Jesse Reno from Massachusetts. Oh, you already know the Boston Red fans are going crazy right now. His escalator used steam to power. So there you go.
They
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's another department. I actually didn't mention that, but a lot of companies have their own escalator department. So, but that's something I haven't touched in my. Actually, you'll have to invite an escalator expert
all
for
right,
that one.
great. So I mean, there's a lot. So in 1892, the earliest working type of escalator was planned by Jesse Reno again. In 1897, first commercial moving staircase escalator was made by Charles Seeberger in cooperation with Otis Elevator Company. So the Otis Elevator Company also had a stake in the escalator movement as well, right? Great.
Yeah.
So let's get into a little history about who this guy was, Elijah Otis, the creator of the first safety elevator, right? He was born in Vermont and died in Yonkers, New York. The American inventor of safety elevators, Elijah Graves Otis, right? So let's get into who he is. He migrated from England to New England in 1631. A descendants of James Otis, actually, his dad. So his dad came here. Then he was born later on, right? Correct. Grew up in Vermont at the age of 19, moved to Troy, New York. So he's a New Yorker, right? There you go. New York has the most elevators in the world. This guy's a New Yorker. So you already know this is why this is the capital of the world, New Yorker.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Now you know why I rock a New York hat.
So it's true.
What kind of
It's
hat?
true
though?
the
The right one.
So most
Well,
service maintenance guys do elevators maintenance guys. Most of them are Yankee fans, so they rock Yankee hats.
Oh yes, sir.
I mean, this guy has a long history. If you guys want to catch his history, you'll go to Britannica.com. There's a history there. But basically, the guy is a New Yorker. He eventually became a New Yorker. He's from Vermont originally, but he lived most of his life here. He died in Yonkers. He definitely has a background in mechanics, so this is the reason why he had knowledge of it, right? And then we're gonna move on to the top 10 elevator rides in the world. Earlier, this is from 2010, so it might be inaccurate right now because this new stuff has developed, right? But based off of the history, the National Geographic.com, the tower that Jonathan described earlier, the CN Tower in Toronto, the world's largest tower is a sheer stiletto that defies the Toronto skyline. So the glass fronted elevator whisks you up to the outdoor observation platform in 58 seconds.
Yes, sir.
Wow, it's crazy.
It's really fast.
Say if you're brave enough, ascend another 33 floors for 3 more lookout levels. So while you're going up, you're looking what's going on outside, right? You can see the outside. It's insane.
Oh yeah.
Insane. So You have the Maritime Museum of British Columbia in Canada as well. You got the Westin Francis Hotel in San Francisco, the Empire State Buildings, which we all know what it is, right? It's the most one of the most famous buildings in the world. King
Yeah,
Kong made it famous too, right?
yeah. It was the tallest building for at some point in history for a period of time. So yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. In Taiwan, we have another building that's 101 stories, has 67 elevators. That's insane,
Yes,
insane.
sir.
The cities
Um,
in Asia are ridiculously huge, though. New York City compels into comparison to like those kind of places.
Yeah, I mean, one thing to know, New York City, it's an old city too. We're seeing more renovations and these new glass buildings everywhere. Everything is just glass, glass, glass. But yeah, we have a very old city. Uh, Also, a lot of old elevator equipment. So these new cities are definitely uh, pioneering in it, and they're breaking ground and break
yeah.
ground technology. They definitely they ahead of the game in that aspect because they're newer. They're building them now with the new technology.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. That's why I said there's probably some new developments. This statistic here from 2010, that's 11 years old. So it's definitely some new stuff. But let's go based off of this. So far right now, the Sky Hotel in Bangkok, Thailand, has an exterior glass elevator, or the tallest hotel over there in Thailand, which is 84 floors. It also has a revolving roof deck, right? That's scary as hell. I've been on one of those before. Uh, you got the Eiffel
Hmm.
Tower. You know what I'm saying? It has its elevator as well to get up to the very tippity top of the Eiffel Tower. We
Yes.
have another what's this here? An elevator in Europe in Switzerland for the Swiss Alps and the lakes. You can travel all the way up to the top and see the wonderful mountain tops from up there and yell "Yiddly-hee-hoo" from far away. You know what I mean? And we have the in Dubai, like John Tavar mentioned earlier, they have one of the highest, tallest towers in the world, um, and they have the world's fastest elevator with double decker cars, and the world's tallest building are more than 150 stories and 2,600 feet high. So an observation deck with 124 floors. On the 124th floor, there's an observation deck. So this is the tallest building in the world, basically, is in Dubai, right? Correct?
Yes, it is. It is.
There you go. So, I mean, in the fastest elevator with double decker cars. Well, what is that? A double decker car?
Basically, it's two enclosures, one on top of the other. So you have two cars in one. So basically, like one car, the bottom car stops at the lobby floor. You could have the other car, stopping at the second floor, and both set of doors opening at the same time. So you got people getting out in the lobby and on the second floor at the same time in the same elevator.
You've seen a lot of movies.
Yeah. So, in Estonia, which is in the like, the Russian Soviet Union area, the ex-Soviet Union, whatever. You have an elevator. It also takes you to the isolated hilltops, and you could watch, the hilltops from there and all of Russia from an observation tower. Which so elevators are used also in hilltops and then mountaintops for you to go to the very top. For tourists, tourism, and for people who just love seeing things from up top, right? For the mountaintops, crazy people they decide to get up there and watch everything and reach a different altitude. So there you go. This is a list you could catch on the nationalgeographic.com. It has the information about the highest points where elevators reach, and yeah, that's
I don't want
awesome.
I don't want us to finish this segment without giving a shout out to our own city, man, New York City. I know that article might be a little old, but the Freedom Tower, baby, the Freedom Tower that was built, after the horrific attacks of 9/11. It's 1,776 feet tall, which it was due on purpose because of the independence year. And America's independence, United States, in the year 1776. So it's the same height of the Freedom Tower. And to put it in a language you know, the common people that are not in this business understand, the elevators ride at 23 miles an hour. That's
Wow,
how fast they go in the Freedom Tower.
Jesus,
Wow.
20,
that's
23 miles an
fast.
hour. That is really fast. So I believe one of the elevators will take you to the observatory on the 101st floor in 47 seconds, which is less than that CN tower now. We spoke
Wow.
about 58 seconds. And also another cool factor about those elevators, they have holograms, I believe it's called, inside the elevators. When you're riding from the bottom to the top floor, you get to see in 47 seconds the history of New York City as you go up. So I recommend everybody go and
Yo,
take
that's the first time I heard that. I gotta check that out, man. 'Cause I haven't been to the building yet. I haven't. I mean, I walked by it, but I haven't actually been inside.
Oh, definitely. Once they open, highly recommend it. Go up there, get a good view of the city. And like I said, the elevator ride, it gives you 47 seconds of the history of New York City through this new technology, holograms. I guess people know what that is. So,
Hey, man, I mean, technology, man. Wow.
really nice, really nice, really nice. So,
You think about it, like, I mean, elevators definitely changed everything, though, because honestly, like, how now, we're able to build more level buildings up because of elevators.
of course, definitely. Yes. I think, like we were mentioning before with the development of the safety elevator, which allowed to put people inside elevators now, not only freight or animals. Um, you know, there was nothing will go higher than six floors. Nothing will go high. No developer will make a building higher than that because nobody's walking up the stairs. Ain't nobody renting or buying that space all the way up there. So once you were able to have a means of transportation, sky's the limit. And we are. You see how high we have come.
Only getting higher.
Yo, it's even crazy. It's even crazy now. You can buy the space above a building thing in the air, so that nobody can continue to build. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's how far we've gotten with the real estate game. So it was a big boom for the real estate industry to now they can build commercial buildings, higher than 6 feet, and charge a nice grip for it, right? But yeah, man, technology is amazing, and elevators are definitely a big part of it. So
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
Jonathan, let's get into real quick the safety measures that are recommended for someone. For instance, if you were to happen to get stuck in the elevator, what's the best way for you to control the situation?
Yeah, very important. So basically, cannot stress enough the fact that for everybody listening to us out there, if you get stuck in an elevator, stay your ass inside. Do not try. That's it. What is the best thing to do? I mean, I know there's people, unfortunately, claustrophobic and maybe certain phobias or something, but if you're not one of those, if you're not that minority, less than 1%, stay inside the car. Just stay there. There's ways to, everybody gets in the elevator, you see the phone button.
Open the door, like, I mean, just for instance, just leave it alone.
Absolutely. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Because you just don't know.
I was trying to get out.
Nah.
Don't follow the movies, basically what Jonathan's saying. Don't follow the movies.
Yeah, no, you're safe there. And today is even easier because today we have cell phones. Everybody can call 911. Even though the FDNY, the fire, usually it's the fire department will come rescue you, they're just gonna break everything. But at least they're gonna make sure that you are taken care and get taken out of there in a safely way. Well, people try to open the doors, get out. The elevator decides to just plunge at that moment. It has happened. I'm not just trying to freak people out. These things once they not working in a controlled environment, working as they should, anything is possible. I mean, if we look it up, I mean, I think maybe 2 years ago, there was like a few elevator accidents where, like in Christmas, because people were freaking loading these elevators. I think it happened in Brooklyn, and the last guy got in, and just because that was the extra weight, that car took off and it went down, and he actually got caught in the middle. So these elevators can always, unfortunately, have a freak moment. Yeah, they can act in an unsafe way. So if you're inside an elevator, look for the alarm button. Look for the phone, the communication button. It's everything there in front of you. and just try to get in contact with somebody, and wait for the cavalry, like they say. But
You're right about that. I have a quick question though, because honestly, I always thought about this though, because I mean, again, I'm from the projects. Is it dangerous though when you pee between the doors? Where, like, I'm just asking right now. Like, I mean, when
that is a common thing though, John Tavar. You're right.
without a doubt, it is dangerous because, unfortunately, we all know the. I don't know if everybody knows, but urine can be very powerful. It definitely metal and metal equipment and urine don't mix. So you could definitely short something out. It's an electrical term for, making a short, like you could stop the elevator. If that pee goes into an electrical equipment, it's going to malfunction and stop the elevator.
Wow.
If that doesn't happen, what happens is that throughout time, urine oxidizes and things become rusty. So
wow.
You're gonna have that problem, and it's on. And I don't know how we say, not hygienic. It's nasty. So yes, please don't pee in the elevator, because then we gotta go and work on the freaking elevator full of pee.
So stop taking out your wee wee in the middle of the elevator to pee pee. All right, Chris Ryder, don't take out your wee wee.
I don't pee in the elevators. I don't pee anywhere. But
you're like a pisser, though.
You lying right now. You lying.
Yeah, he looks like a pisser, bro. You look like a pee.
Bro, you had to piss, bro.
I run outside and I peed on the side of the building.
Dude, you grew up in the project. You had to piss once. At least coming home drunk from chilling with the boys, you had to piss once into the elevators.
Before I got inside.
That's a good man.
So outside the elevator.
Good man.
Outside the building.
On the elevator door, he's pissed.
On the corner of the building. That's what I've done that plenty of times.
Hey, Jonathan, so that was a good one. John Tavar definitely killed it with that one. I have another good one. Do you recommend that somebody makes a run for the elevator when it's about to close? They put their hand in between the two doors. How dangerous is that?
It is dangerous. It could be dangerous. Like I said, elevators are. We're going to continue to stress how safe elevators are, but yeah, they could have a freak moment. So, you put your hand there. There's a device that actually is supposed to detect something between the doors. Okay, and the doors they will reopen. But God forbid malfunctions and freaking now your arm is jammed and the car wants to take off with your arm. I think we're seeing it like with the trains. When people put their foot trying to hold the doors, and some trains have taken off with people's foot on the freaking door. So it can happen.
Elevators can take off then with people's arms hanging in the middle, right? And rip their they could rip their arm limb off and this is over, right?
Yeah, come on. I mean, look, I know we're living in a fast-paced generation. The internet, everything is quick. Amazon, I want what I want yesterday. I don't want it today. I want it yesterday. So, but you can wait for the next elevator. Come on. I mean, there's another elevator right there, or that elevator is gonna come down. What is the rush? What's the rush?
What's another minute or two gonna take? You might lose your arm or your life. Honestly,
basically.
Yes. So speaking about that, is it good though? Like, I mean, I was a victim of that, of like holding the elevator up. Just like, like make sure everybody get in. But I mean, it starts beeping. I mean, how I mean, is that a good thing though? I mean, does it really messes up like the functions of a elevator, or?
Yeah, when you're holding the door for people to come in.
Yeah. I mean, depends on the system, and so you're really not going to be able to know what is the system good or not here. But the new system has what you're saying. That's called nudging. We call it nudging. Okay. So basically, the doors are allowed to stay open for a certain amount of time. It goes through a timer. And you could make it 2 minutes, 30 seconds, whatever. So like John was holding those doors, let's say, for more than 30 seconds. That timer was set for 30 seconds. Then you get this buzzer basically telling you, get out the way. I'm closing no matter what.
That's true though. Actually,
So,
oh well.
So
that buzzer means that you gotta get in or get out because this is about to go.
Yeah, it's not gonna stop. It's not, the doors now are in nudging mode and they're gonna close no matter
regardless.
what's in, regardless. So that's why it goes with a buzzer to let people know what's happening.
You know
Some
what?
sort of like alert.
I'll tell you a crazy story. I was a supervisor at a hospitality group, and I had a staff of of employees that were under me that I used to supervise and delegate responsibilities to. I used to tell them, don't leave the cart, because they used to do room service. Do not leave the cart blocking the elevator, because there's a nudging mechanism that eventually, if you walk away to a room and you don't come back on time, it's gonna go. You know what happened one time? The elevator. This is a service elevator, by the way. It took the cart with it broken in half and broke all the things on it, and the elevator shaft almost broke, like the actual mechanism, and it cost the hotel thousands of dollars to repair it.
No. Well, yeah. I mean, these things they have a brain of their own sometimes. That's what I'm saying. I mean, if you use them the way they should, everything's gonna be okay. It should be for the most part. If doors open, get in, press your button, get your get out the way and go. Everything should be fine. But when you put your feet, the umbrella, you're running for it. You're holding the door with your feet. The things that something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen.
But that goes to show you how powerful, the elevator, how how powerful it is. The one that goes, when it's saying it's going up or down, it's going. It took a metal cart, split it in half, basically. So imagine what it could do to your body. You're gone, man. It's over.
It
Lights
ain't
out.
stopping.
This happened
No,
already.
It's happened.
it has
Yeah, it's
happened.
happened. But a lot of
Unfortunately.
people lose like the concept of the dangers that they face on an everyday basis. Getting into the elevator, doing something
Yeah.
as simple as holding the door for your neighbor to come in,
Yeah.
or for a coworker. That could be the end of your life right there.
But I mean,
You know what?
it's a machine. It's a machine. It's already programmed, right, Jonathan? Like it's a machine. It's already programmed, and it's like, you know what I mean. You gotta understand that. Like,
Yeah.
you can't go based on your judgment as far as like, oh, it's gonna hold the door for me. No, it's programmed
Yeah.
already to close at a certain time.
And that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Like the misconception that people have, something as innocently as you holding the elevator for a coworker or your neighbor can end your life.
Yeah, and I think one of the most in the same line of thought, stepping in and out the elevator. We do it like changing your socks, I guess. We, especially in New York, we take elevator rides constantly. But I must stress, pay attention. Especially now with the cell phones, we all in our cell phone, we all do it, we all checking, texting, whatever. We're not judging. We live in the smartphone era, fine, but take a second. If you're gonna get in an elevator, step in or step out, look at the damn floor, make sure it's level, make sure the car is there, get in, get out. Because
Yeah.
it could be something simple. You just trip, and now you bust your face or something. But you can also, something more severe, more serious, because the elevator might malfunction at that moment and drop, or maybe go up a little bit. You're not paying attention, and now you're gonna get hurt.
Or you could walk into a black hole. The elevator might not be there. The doors might open, and you go into
It
an
has happened.
empty shaft. There's nothing there, and when that's it. Boom, lights out. You're done.
Yeah, I got a story about that actually. I got called into a trouble call. This is before I was a resident mechanic. I got called into a call. I forgot the address, Midtown Manhattan, and they told me elevator shut down on the 28th floor. That was the complaint. So I go to the building. I take another elevator. I go to the 28th floor, and what do I find? Elevator doors wide open, no elevator there. Just a black hole, bro.
That's dangerous.
Just on the 28th floor. There was nobody, no protection, no nothing. So I don't know why the building didn't secure the area. That's beyond me. But what had happened was basically the elevator, it was 29th floor. The building was 29 floors high. So the elevator went into the 28th floor, and what happened was the machine brake got hung. It never dropped. It never settled again on the machine. So basically, we didn't discuss this, but you have the elevator and you have the counterweight. We mentioned that at the beginning with the ropes.
Yeah.
The counterweights, the weights of an elevator are actually 40% heavier than the actual car. By design, it's like that to help the motor. They're heavier. So
okay.
Exactly. So basically, this car, the brake didn't settle. The weights were down because the car was on the 28th floor. So now the car drifted up, and because the brake never settled, and the doors, I guess they were not functioning as they should. They never closed by themselves. So now the elevator drifted up to the next top floor, and the door stood open there.
So
And
imagine, like you said
that was
earlier, somebody not paying attention, waiting for the elevator, could just walked in and just
MTA
woohoo, a pitfall. 20
sayonara.
feet. Yeah, sayonara. So this is the reason, folks. Stop being on your phones. You're waiting for the elevator. As soon as you hear that ping, watch out. Make sure you're in, your full body's in. Get in there,
Yeah.
get out. You could lose your life in an instant. Honestly.
Yeah,
That's true though.
and we like to work. We love the adventure, but we don't want to get cold. We want people to take the elevator, go where they got to go, and go home. So the less trouble that we got, I mean, the best for everybody. We all want to go home back to our families. We want to, get our money, get paid, go home, live our lives, enjoy. But so if you do your part, you're gonna save us some headaches.
So basically,
yeah,
the message is pay attention, or it might be your last ride.
Yes, sir.
Pay attention, it might be your last ride.
Oh yeah.
Specialize in the last rides there, Nelson?
Huh?
Specialize in the last rides?
No, I mean, it depends, man. It depends what type of last ride you're talking about. But
you know you in line for a couple last rides there, buddy. You know what I'm talking about.
okay, well, yeah, man. But yeah, man, those are things that are definitely very essential to your life, man, to your livelihood. If you're not paying attention, like Jonatan Perez discussed, that it can determine whether you live or die. And if you're not, in this day and age, people are hooped up on their phones, not paying attention. They just walk into walls. They walk into glass doors. I've seen people in the malls walking straight through glass doors because they're texting. They're not paying attention. And we the guys here, we also stress. We always stress that on our episodes. Like, technology is good, but it's also detrimental to a certain extent. And people just they too stuck on dependent on technology, and they sometimes lose sight of what's important to things that can eventually cause your death, like crossing the street while texting. You can get hit by a car and stuff like that.
She was doing that. She was texting in the street, and she was just the green light, and she was just there, and I stopped, and she was like she had like the whole.
I couldn't imagine that.
And I looked at her, and I'm like, pay attention to what you're doing. Is I had the green light, and she just kept going. And if I wasn't, I wasn't smart enough to stop, I would have hit her back. Because I was going at least 27 miles an hour.
Crazy.
Whoa.
Jonathan, we have a question from the audience. Has there ever been an incident when there's been a large rainstorm and an elevator gets full of water with people in it? Has that happened before? Have you heard of it?
Not in my career, not a rainfall. Now there has been pipes in the building, the break, the burst, water pipes, main pipes, and yeah, definitely it has happened where there's people in the elevator, water is coming down under the doors pretty much. So the water will always find a way out.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Just like urine. So yeah, basically, I don't know about rainfall. I mean, there might be buildings that had a hole in the top of the shaft way over there, but it stops. Basically, once you see a lot of water, either it's gonna get shut down. Unfortunately, people are gonna get trapped, or as soon as you open, people have the heads up to say, "Oh, let me get out of here, water." Well,
that's like a movie right now. Like
Final Destination, right?
That's crazy, yo.
You know the Final Destination movie, Justin?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I have a quick question for John. What's the capacity though, when it comes to like weight wise, right? I mean, you spoke about it before though, but what's like is there like a maximum that you like an elevator should be designed to do?
Right, it depends on the elevator too. The build
for what for the capacity. You think
capacity weight?
Yeah. Everything. That would be engineering, like a mechanical engineer, a design engineer. Anything is possible. You want a 5,000 an elevator that can handle 10,000.
The reason why I ask because I'm a little skeptical with that. I am skeptical with that. Because I mean,
With what?
with
What
like
part?
I mean, when I get inside an elevator and there's a bunch of people inside, where you know
Yeah.
what, I'd rather just wait for the next one.
Well, yeah, he gave an example of that earlier. There was a guy who got in the elevator during Christmas. There was always over the weight capacity. He got in and that's it, was over. Lights
The
out.
brake fell. Follow your gut. Follow your gut. If you see a lot of people, you know, why not? Just wait for the other one. Elevators have the data, the information is on the panel. Usually tells you capacity 2,000 pounds.
Right?
You know, and you could count. I mean, I don't know if you
So
could see it.
basically, if
you
you
see
walk into
five
the
Nelson,
elevator and you see 6 of me in there, do not get on.
you're like, hey,
Six of
next.
Nelly's.
I don't want to say it like that, but I mean,
Don't get on there, buddy. Maybe 2 of us is enough.
biased
I'm not
about
sure.
that, though, but I mean, yeah, because it's times like I said, you know what? Oh, let me wait for the next one right now.
I
Like,
can't get into the elevator with Nelly by myself anyway, so I don't know.
That was
Yeah.
say it again.
I said I'd be kind of scared getting into the elevator with Nelly by myself anyway, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, listen, you're talking
It
to
might
a
be
train.
good now.
Yeah,
We got
talking to
social distancing now, so it might be okay.
Yeah, but Jonathan, you're talking to a trained killer here. This guy will shank me and rip my guts out in a heartbeat in the elevator. Yeah, for sure. He's
This
nice with
guy's-
the knife. But another stupid question, which I know the answer to already, but people were asking, right? Remember when we were kids, when we would get into the elevator, 3 or 4 friends of ours, and we would start jumping and like messing around. Oh shit, jumping, like trying to scare the person. A few of the guys who were scared. Do you recommend people jumping in the elevator?
Absolutely not. So basically,
Look at John Tavar. He took a sip. Like I remember doing that.
yeah,
no,
no,
man,
basically,
fuck, I was doing that as a kid. This shit. Well, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, no. I mean, I get what you don't know don't kill you, like they said. So you didn't know, fine. But now there's a safety. The safety mechanism that we were talking about, Otis design. So basically, it's attached to the elevator through a steel rope, and that's the rope. If the car goes over speed or the ropes get cut or something, that's gonna pull that safety and engage the car and bring it to a halt. So when you're jumping inside an elevator, if you, for whatever reason, I don't know, you get a good news and you get happy, yeah, it's like jumping. You could engage that safety. So if you're doing it while the car is traveling, you could bring the car into a quick stop, a very rough stop. So no jumping in the car. Absolutely.
So don't get excited.
Sign up in the elevator, no jumping.
No jumping. Nah.
Try to keep your excitement to a decent level, basically, right? The Yankees win. Oh shit! Don't do that. Just relax.
No.
Wait
Just
till you get outside.
Wait till you get outside, and then do your thing.
Jonathan, we have a question. It's like a myth. So, God forbid, knock on wood, the elevator drops, right?
Yeah.
And they always say if you jump right before it lands, is the survival rate like there, or is that just like bullshit? You know what I mean? Like as soon as it's about to hit the bottom, you jump and it's like,
Or maybe you can hang on to the railings and put your feet up, like, and then what do you think?
Yeah, I would recommend bending your knees because I think about this. How are you gonna know when the car is gonna hit?
Right.
How do you know when to jump? Let's say that will save your life. You don't know this car. How do you know? Okay, it's gonna hit. No, but if you kind of like, flex your knees, God willing, hopefully that can decrease the amount of hurt that you're gonna experience because you're gonna get hurt.
You're gonna get hurt regardless.
Yeah.
You're gonna get hurt regardless. Or it could be fatal or just like
bad
injury.
Definitely.
Great,
yeah,
man.
but elevators very rare will go plunge all the way down because we just when we were talking about the jumping question, there's multiple safety mechanisms to prevent the elevator for plunging and going all the way down. And first and foremost, people don't know this, but elevators a minimum of 4 steel ropes are attached to the car. And only one of those ropes can hold the elevator. With one rope, you can work the elevator. And the elevator has 4 minimum. Some of them have 6, even 8 ropes, depending on the capacity and the size of the elevator. So think about for an elevator to plunge, you have to lose 8 ropes. Well, the odds of that happening are very low. And let's say you do happen, then you have the safety, which is it's called the over. That's what Otis actually invented, is the over speed safety. So once the car is going at this crazy speed, this thing is gonna pull
It's gonna pull it back.
Yeah.
So it's very hard for elevator to collapse like all the way down and like you said, plunge.
Absolutely.
Yeah, all right.
Absolutely.
So there you go. That's a common myth people weren't hip to. There you go. The elevator maintenance expert just answered your question. But yeah, Jonatan, man, it's definitely a pleasure having you on, man. We could continue with the with the odd, funny questions. You know what I'm saying? One last question that I wanted to ask was in movies, we constantly see in movies or in TV shows, fire rises, the firefighters are not coming on time. There's a safety exit above the elevator, right? There's a hatch that opens. Do you recommend people actually going through the hatch and trying to rescue themselves out of a tight situation, given that the authorities don't come or nobody comes for a long time? Or during in the fire where, if you don't, your life depends on you getting out of there. Do you recommend that, or do you rather just be inside the elevator? That's the safest place you could be.
Yeah, no, great question. And I would say again, on a case by case. You mentioned fire. So if your house is burning inside this freaking cab enclosure, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, let me try whatever I can. Let me get the heck out of here as soon as possible.
Right.
But if I was saying, if you were talking about being trapped, if you're talking about an emergency situation, police or something involved, if you could stay inside the car, that's my number one advice. Stay inside the car as much as you can. If you must get out, try to get out. Now, those hatches Nelly Nell was mentioning, they actually, if everything is the way as it should, they're locked from the outside, because those hatches are designed for either us, the elevator personnel, or the FDNY, the fire department, to go from on top of the car and open that to rescue people. Those things are not, they used to be open back in the day until somebody, had the smart idea of getting out and got crushed or killed something. So they used to be accessible to the people inside, but not no more. They are actually locked from outside.
So don't believe what you see in Hollywood movies where people just go and break them and they climb up the ladder to escape the cops. It doesn't happen. It's locked. It's sealed shut.
It's sealed shut. It's sealed shut unless it was left open, and that's the one that you decide to push and get out. But they usually lock.
A lot of people are under the wrong impression. People think that that's actually open and they can get out. I've seen videos of people like running away from the cops. They're trying to get out through there and they get caught.
Yeah, no, there's actually, if you look this up, there's actually a safety, an elevator safety video that is, it's on YouTube, I believe. And there was a time they used to call it, it was a thing actually in the projects. They used to call it elevator surfing.
Oh my God, yes. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, so that was thing in the project. It was cool to get out the hatch and ride the car in top of the car. And I think a kid, there was a young kid in the project, probably 11, I believe, got killed doing that. And I think that brought up the code to enforce the code of locking those hatches. But yeah, I mean, they used to be cool. People, let's go elevator surfing and be on top of the car. And
it was a thing. It was a thing.
It's dangerous. I mean, you don't know. People don't even know where to put their arms. I mean, like me personally, I already know how much I can spread my arms if I'm on top of a car or something. I mean, but in a split second, I mean, your arm can get caught. I mean, there's more equipment out there. There's structural beams, I-beams, there's different things. There's nothing, nobody should be on top of an elevator unless you know what the heck is going on. There's no reason why you do that.
Imagine how many elevator surfing was done before that horrific event happened. Imagine, I've heard people that I grew up with do it themselves and they survived. And it wasn't until that kid passed away, I mean, that unfortunately they really started looking into it. I mean, there were other cases too of people fall, but for some reason with this particular case with the 11-year-old, given the given the age that he's basically a baby still, right? At 11, you're not, you're still a very young kid. I guess they took a little bit more interest into it, because I've heard about kids who were 18, 19 that had died previously to him, but the attention wasn't brought until a real young kid died. So I'm glad that they finally took care of that, because that's definitely, I mean, something that and when you live in poverty in these places, sometimes you get bored, man, and you're looking for a way out or something, just to play a friendly game with your friends, and it could end your life. And look, it ended that kid's life.
Yeah,
So
you don't know any better though. I mean, as a kid though, you're right about that.
yeah,
You just experimenting, and
yeah.
again.
But imagine being a kid. Now you have, you're living in a poor area in poverty. That gives you even more of an incentive to do crazy things, because you're looking at yourself. You're deprived from food and from resources. Now you're going to go do crazy things with your friends. I mean, it happens more often in the hood than in yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's a lot of things we can touch on that, because, poverty being one of those, but like, parents maybe not paying attention to where the kids are. Maybe, you live in this confined environment. You want to, go outside, play, you need some space. But I think bringing it back to the topic at hand today, elevator maintenance mechanic, I guess to all of us, let's just make sure us elevator maintenance mechanics that we do the right thing. So if you get a bored kid, like you're saying, unfortunately, that hatch is locked, So if we do the right thing, if we make sure everything is done as it should, then we won't have those cases. Then you don't have a bored kid opening this hatch and going out, because it's locked as it should. So
there you have it, man. All you elevator safety mechanics out there, make sure you do your job right. And then parents, make sure you watch after your kids. And just people in general, man, the citizens of the United States of America, all over the world, just pay more attention when you get into an elevator, because it can definitely determine whether you live or you die in a heartbeat, in a matter of a second. So, Jonatan Perez, man, it was definitely a pleasure having you on, man. You definitely gave us information that most of us weren't aware of, as far as regulations, rules, and safety, and the history of elevators in general, but primarily the safety part, which was our main concern, given the fact that we do live in the biggest city in the world and the city with the most elevators in the world. So this is actually a thing for us to look out for, because we're more susceptible to an accident just because there are more elevators in New York City, right? So I thank you, man, much, and I commend you for your service, brother. Your industry is definitely top notch, bro. I appreciate your expertise, man. And whenever I see an elevator mechanic, elevator maintenance mechanic, I'm definitely gonna give him a handshake, man, and tell him thank you for saving my day today, sir.
Yes, sir. No problem. Well, thank you all of y'all. Thank you, John. Thank you, Chris. I mean, it's a pleasure, for real. I mean, thank you for giving me the opportunity to share what I do. I never had this opportunity. So I hope somebody out there, like you keep stressing, pay more attention. Maybe tomorrow you get an elevator and you remember these things, and you pay more attention, and you can avoid a bad situation. So, yes, everybody should understand that we do a dangerous job. Keep us in your prayers, and just make our life easier by doing what the heck you got to do. So.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, you kind of summed it up right there. But at the end of the Roundtable podcast, we do a final thought based off the topic. Today's topic was elevator maintenance, right? And your expertise. What would be your final thought, your final message to the public, our listeners, to the world out there, regarding today's topic?
I think, safety. We continue to talk about safety. Use the elevator the way it's designed to be used. So you don't get in a car, right? And you put it on R to go forward. You put it on drive. So you use it for what was designed. So I think, a lot of people get ideas and they want to pee on the elevator, or they want to, press 1,000 all the buttons, and no, use the elevator the way it's supposed to be. You'll get to your destination. You'll make our life easier, so we don't have to be going in the building for a stupid call because somebody got smart and want to press everything. And pay attention and use it for what was designed to take you to your floor. That's it.
Yeah, man. There you have it, guys. So who's up next, man? Final thought, guys.
let me just go. I mean, it don't matter what format we go through. First of all, I want to ask you this, Jonathan. I mean, before I get to my final thought, though, it's just kind of crazy though when I think about how the elevator is set up, right? Why do males go to the back and females always stay in the front by the door? Like it's something I always thought about. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like it was just so crazy. It just like hit me in my head right now. Like, why is that? Like it's like
crime. Because a crime is sex crimes.
oh, try to like okay, like an escape door. Got you.
Yeah, because it's quicker for them to exit if you try to like rape them or mug them. A lot of females get mugged and raped on elevators. That's a common thing, right, Jonathan?
Yeah, I mean, again, depends. All the area where we are has a lot to do with that. I actually, John, I'll pay more attention to that. I honestly, I don't know what's the reason behind that. Maybe they want to have a better view. Or
I got a quick fun fact for you, Jonathan.
something.
Selfies besides the bathroom is the elevator where people take selfies at. It's the elevators. That's actually
Oh, really?
Yes,
Wow. So
Well,
aside
I'm sorry.
from the mirror in the bathroom, the elevator is the second most popular selfie taking place.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
I hear you. Especially, there's a lot of now the cab design. That's a big thing too. People spend a lot of money in the interior of the elevator. So a
Yes,
lot
we
of
have
them
mirrors and all that stuff. Yeah,
Mm.
right.
Yeah, definitely. So I didn't know that. I mean, there you go. I learned something new too.
Yeah.
Thanks, bro.
But I mean, my final thoughts basically, I mean, what you said about as far as like, I mean, I would say like, take a thing for granted though, because end of the day, like we're born into this though. We don't really understand as far as like, you know, the structure and how it was really built. Because again, we're actually born into this, and I mean, I think about it every day though when I take a subway too though, where I mean, we're living in the most convenient city in the world, New York City. We have the largest mass transit.
Yes, sir.
It's not only 24/7 because of COVID, but pre-COVID it was 24/7, and it's one thing that I mean, I always like I looked at it like wow. I mean, that it made me really appreciate more. You know what I'm saying? And again, it goes back what you mean with the elevator too, though, because I mean, all of us, I mean, for the most part, the people that live like in apartment buildings, they take the elevator. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's something that
Every day.
you gotta look at that, and knowing, you know what I'm saying, like, yo, you gotta like understand that. So I always, always pay homage to that, man. So I really respect that. Really respect you. I mean, because at the end of the day, like, I mean, you definitely do something that many of us may not notice, and it goes unnoticed, unfortunately. But I mean, listen,
Yes.
I applaud you. I applaud you, man. I applaud you,
Thank
man.
you. Thank you. And just to add to your thought, another thing we can be consider of others. I mean, we take it for granted, like you said, but a lot of us, like you mentioned, live in apartment buildings. Most of these apartment buildings have one elevator, and you might live in the second, third floor. You come and bang the elevator. Now you coming home tired from work. You live in the sixth, seventh floor, and the elevator's out of service, and you gotta walk up the damn stairs. And no, let's treat the thing nice, so everybody can use it, and everybody can benefit from what it does. So don't take it for granted. That's a good one.
Absolutely. Yeah. I appreciate that, man. So you know what, man? That's my final thought, man. I appreciate you.
No, thank you. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for the opportunity. For real. It's been great.
Oh man, yeah, definitely, my brother, definitely.
Yeah,
So, man. I mean, who's
The
next?
butcher.
Or Chris
Yeah, I
Ryder?
mean, yeah, man. Unsung heroes, man. People don't realize how important people like you are to their daily lives until you're not there anymore. So, when
Thank
they
you.
convenience, then they realize the elevator mechanic is important, just like the butcher, the porter, the people who
Yes.
take care of the sewers or the sanitation workers.
Yes.
Unsung heroes that people don't really know about. So, commend you.
Amen.
You came over here with a dream, and you look back at where you started to where you are now, and it's night and day. And you worked
Yes,
hard,
sir.
and I commend you for that. And keep,
Yes.
keep having us safe, keep having us not realizing the importance of what you do. So that's when you're doing a great job, is when people don't know in a sense of anything. That's my final thought.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. And like I said, to me and all my brothers, there's a lot of us that do this. Some of us don't even make it home, man, unfortunately. this just hit me right now. I have mentioned it to Nelson just a few weeks ago. This guy just recently got married, 25 years old. And you probably guys saw it on the news, and he didn't make it home that day. He got crushed by the elevator. He was a worker. They were working on the elevator. So definitely a shout out to all my brothers, everybody in the industry that does this and take pride in what they do. Let's just one thing that I share with my wife every day. My wife on my way out. What is your mission today? It's to bring your ass home the same way you left. So the most important thing is going back home. So go out there, do it safely, do it right, and come back home, man. Family, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, man. Well, our sympathies and condolences to that young man who unfortunately was one of your comrades in the elevator industry. Yeah. He passed away, being a young guy, married. Just he had his whole life ahead of him, and unfortunately, the machine took over his life and crushed him. But our sympathies and condolences to him and his family. If you guys, if you guys ever hear this, we definitely our sympathies are here and then at the round table. Thank you for mentioning that, because we almost forgot about that point, Jonathan. Yeah, definitely. But yes, so my final thought is, man, appreciate the unseen expertise, the unseen occupations. Just because you don't see something or someone working in a particular field because they're behind the shadows does not mean that there's not somebody there actually making it happen. We sometimes take for granted and we don't appreciate the little things that we have in life. And just be careful, man, stepping into the elevator, because it might be your last step.
Yes, sir.
My final thought. You already know, Jonatan Perez in the house, elevator service maintenance mechanic. You already know. Thank you for the knowledge, brother. You already know. Dinner at the Round Table podcast, your source to knowledge. And we're going to end it up with a Nestle Crunch.
Crunches, when it crunches, that's what I love. Nestle Crunch.
Yes, sir.
That's what I love.
We out of here. Dinner at the Round Table podcast. You already know what it is, man. Catch us every Sunday, every Monday at 8 p.m. Send in La Mesa Redonda, the Latino version, tomorrow at 9 p.m. You already know we got J Glam Organics products, hair products. Get your hair on, man. Stop playing, man. We out of here. Shout out to the Dinner at the Round Table family, man. We big time, man. We getting this on. Jonathan, you already know, man. Peace out, brother. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
The
Peace
Freedom.
out.
We out of here.
Aul.
Silence number 2. $1 million. $1 million. $1 million.